One at this one.
Yeah. And so we need our thinking caps on. Put our thinking caps on. Do we have our listening ears? Do we have Okay. Now when it comes to quiet voices, if I ask you a question, I want you to speak loud, okay? So that I can hear you and that our friends in the back can hear too, okay? So if I ask a question or I'm coming up to talk to you about something, please talk loud. All right, kindergarten, are you ready for today? All right, I have something very fun planned for us. So you know how we had a super long weekend?
Yeah.
All right. Well, when we talk about our weekends in morning meetings, you know how we talked about our weekend yesterday? Well, when we talk about what we did, don't we like to include who we went with?
Yeah.
And if we're talking about who, what is that? From yesterday, what did we learn the who is?
The person that you're with.
So, is that my setting or the character? The characters. And then when we're also talking about our weekends during morning meeting, or when we're writing in our writer's workshop, right? Don't we have to include the where?
Yeah.
What's the where?
Where you are.
Setting. So that way when we're telling our friends and our classmates during morning meeting, or if Mrs. Hill or I are looking at your writer's workshop binders, we know where you went, and our where is what?
Where you are.
And that is called our setting. And then we want to know who you went with, and what's the who?
The character.
The characters. So today, kindergarten, we're going to learn to answer the question, what happened in a story? All right? So if we look over there at our learning target, the second one says ask and answer questions while listening to a story. So we're going to learn to answer what happened in a story. And since Miss Sonicson likes to draw, so you can always have something to look at, she drew another poster for you.
You can look at both of them.
Yes. So if you're confused, you can look at both of them. So it says, what happened in the story?
But they're both different.
They're both different because they're two different things. This one we learned about our characters and our settings. So if you're confused about what a character is, you can come up here and look at this. If you're confused about the setting, you have this one. But over here, I'm telling you how to answer what happened in a story. So when we answer what happened in a story, we want to make sure we include the who. So we want to make sure we include our characters in our story. We want to include the where. So where did the story take place? Our setting of the story. And then we want to include the important details. So I did a book called The Three Bears. We've all heard of The Three Bears, right?
Yeah.
So, who are the characters in The Three Bears? Charlotte.
Goldilocks and the Three Bears.
Goldilocks and the Three Bears. And do you know where our story takes place? What is the setting? Luca. Is it in the city? No. It's in a forest, and the bears have a home in the forest, right? So when I'm telling somebody what happened in a story, I want to make sure I include the characters and then the setting. So if you look here, I did the important details. So what are the important things that happened in the story? What do I want to make sure I include in my pictures? And then as we get farther on in our writing, we can learn to write sentences. But we want to make sure we include all the important things that happened. So down here I said, oh, the bears, they left their house, right, because their porridge was too hot and they couldn't eat it. So they left to go on a walk, remember that?
Yeah.
And then over here, can you have a seat so everyone else can see? Over here, Goldilocks, she came in to try the porridge, right? So she went through Papa Bear's, Mama Bear's, and Baby Bear's porridge. And she was like, oh, I'm tired. So she fell asleep in one of the beds, right?
Yeah.
But then, the bears walked in, and she was sleeping in their bed, right? So I included the characters, and I included the setting in telling my friends what happened in the story. And then I gave 3 pictures of the important things that happened in a story. you might think something different was important. So you might draw what you think is important. All right, I want to know what you thought happened in the story. So it's all on what Viha thought happened in the story. Hers might be different from what Charlotte's picture might look like. So we're gonna use these super cool cards I found to tell what happened in the Three Little Pigs. We're going back to that story a lot, aren't we?
Yeah.
So if we look here, I have the Three Little Pigs. Uh-oh. Here, Valentine, I'll just put it over here. We have, and the Big Bad Wolf, and these are what? The characters. And then I have the Straw House, the Stick House, and then the Brick House. And these are what? The settings. So the cool thing about these is when we talk about what happened in this story, don't we talk about, what did we talk about, how the pigs built their houses? So if you look here, I have pictures of what's going on in the story. So what I want you to do is I'm going to put you in groups, and I'm going to put you in different places around the room. And as a group, you're going to work together to recreate what happened in the story. So you can answer what happened in the story. And I'm going to come around and I'm going to ask you to tell me what happened in the story using our characters and our setting. Yes, Viha.
What story are we
The Three Little Pigs that we read yesterday.
we can do another.
So then you can use the Big Bad Wolf, how he's used. And then you can choose whichever Three Little Pig you want to build whichever house, okay? There is no specific pig to go with the house. So if you want this one to build the brick house, that's totally fine. You as a group can choose that, all right? So I'm gonna call off the groups. They're somewhat the same from yesterday. So group one is Viha, Jonah, and Quentin. Bella's not here. So Quentin, you want to hold on tight. And can you go sit over by the break area, on the ground by the break area? Charlotte, Isaac, Nico, Jackson. I'm going to ask that you sit right in the middle of these tables. Oh, Charlotte grabbed your packet of stuff, so you can go with Charlotte. My group number 3, Michelle, Ethan, Jack Z, and Allison. Jack Z, would you mind holding? Michelle's not here, so that's okay. Do you want to sit over here? Over in this area. Kindergarten. Group 4, Jack M, Brendan, Luca, Zoe. Can you go sit on this half of behind this group? Behind this group. And then my last group, Daniela, Maite, Evelyn, and Valentine. Can you go sit over there by the door? Your feet hurt? Yes, sir. Yes, so I gave you lots of characters depending upon how you want to tell your story. You can do it, so maybe you do it while this pig built this, is using this stuff to build the house.
I use the bread. I need to do some door. So this is a door.
All right, so how are you doing this?
So this is my pig. And this is the fire because the fire happened in the cow. The bad wolf.
The Big Bad Wolf? And what is the Big Bad Wolf?
Glued the house.
He glued on the house.
I did the door to
So I had a group ask me, because I printed off some more characters, so there's multiple characters. So you can use as many characters, as many of the pigs as you want to tell your story. So maybe you do in one picture, one part of your retell, or you're showing me what happened. You use the pigs to tell me that they're building their houses. And then maybe you show me how they had their houses built. And then maybe your 3 pigs are building their houses right now. Or maybe you show me that wolf blew down the house, right?
Yeah.
So what happened? What happened at the very beginning of the story? What happened at the very beginning? The pigs were building the house. So when we tell, can I have this please? When we tell what happened in a story, Isaac, we want to start at the very beginning of a story. You don't want to tell me what happens at the end of the story first, right? Because then I already know what happened in the story. So, Charlotte had a good point. What were they doing at the very beginning of the story? What did they do at the very beginning of the story? What did the three pigs do? They were building their house. So, okay, so this shows that they are building their house. This is the materials they're using to build their house. So if the I'm gonna hold on to this right now. If the very first thing, Isaac, if the very first thing that the pigs did was build their house, shouldn't we show that to our readers or someone who's looking at our work? So if this is what they use to build their house, there's other materials. Like this is the material for the straw house, and this is the material for the brick house. Yes? I hurt my hand. Oh, on the chair. So if we want to show that the three little pigs are building the house, Isaac, shouldn't we put three little pigs by the materials? My hands are cold. So we have, this pig is building the stick house, right? And we have, oh yes, your hands are warm. And if we have this little pig is building the brick house, and this little piggy is building the straw house. We're showing the very beginning of it, right? The very beginning of the story. So what happened after they built the houses? So they're building the houses right now. What happened next? So if they're building the houses, aren't they done building the houses?
Yeah.
Then they have their actual house.
Yeah, and then they go inside.
So if we have to find the piggy to go with this. So remember, this little piggy, Charlotte, so what you're going to do is you're going to space out. Hang on, Isaac. So if this is the very beginning of the story, they're building their houses. When they're all done building their house, they have their houses, right? So then you could go, oh, this little piggy built the stick house. This, Isaac, you need to leave this there. Because, Isaac, what was the first thing that they did in the story? Isaac, what was the first thing they did in the story? Did the house get blown down in the very beginning? It did? The wolf already blew down the house at the beginning of the story? No, silly. They built their houses. So if we have this little piggy, he already finished building his house, right?
Yeah.
And then we have this little piggy. Can I have the brick house? This little piggy already built his brick house. And then this little piggy built his straw house. So after their houses were already built, who came into the picture? The big bad wolf. And what did he do?
The bad wolf blew down the stick and the straw house.
He blew down the stick and the straw.
Yeah.
But he couldn't blow down the brick house. So if he blew out those houses, these ones went away, right? They said goodbye and went away. So the big bad wolf tried to do what?
Blow down the brick house.
Isaac, did he blow down the brick house? He blew it down? Was he successful at it? Yeah? Are you sure, sir?